สวัสดีทุกคนตระนันนาผู้คนรวมโลกกลับมาพบกับทุกท่านแล้วมีผมด้วยเย้ไปปลูกผมมาไม่ใช่เขียนผมเฉยๆครับผู้คนรวมโลกมาพบกับทุกท่านตอนบ่ายวันเสาร์ที่13พฤศจิกายน2564 Hi today United World Teacher Gohh come back to see you on in the afternoon of Saturday 13 November 2021 and where we are now you can see behind me is the United World toilet, right? And here is the United World pavilion that you are familiar with, right? That we teach. But today I'm gonna show you how I wonder whether I can change the camera to the back camera. It's not possible, right? I shouldn't have forgot. But that's okay. Setting. I forgot to change the setting. Title. I'll change later, okay? Maybe we can change now. เดี๋ยวนะเปลี่ยนวันที่ก่อนเนี่ยไม่ค่อยอยากจะรับนิ้วชี้เราแซด13 Nov ให้ผมรู้เคล็ดลับอย่างหนึ่งนะในการลบมาข้างหน้าคือกดชิปปุ่มชิปค้างไว้มันก็จะลบมาข้างหน้าได้นะจะลองทำให้ดูไหมเนี่ยอย่างลบข้างหน้าเนี่ยมันกด backspace ได้อยู่แล้วนะแต่ลบจากข้างมาเนี่ยมันกดชิปค้างไม่ทำแล้วกันอันนี้โอเคแล้วครับนี่กันไตตันละโอ้กลับมาหน้านี้ได้เหมือนเดิมดีมากคาเมราไฟไลท์ฉลาดมากครับฉลาดกว่าผมเยอะเลยเอาละทีนี้ได้ยินเสียงบักอะโลหาเสียงไหมครับมีการเลือกตั้งอะไรกันอีกแล้วเนี่ยสงสัยอบตตั้งประมาณเดี๋ยวเราจะปั๊มน้ำนะครับให้ดูตั้งกล้องดีๆนะแค่นี้ก็เดี๋ยวเราก็จะไปเสียบปลั๊กแล้วก็จะมาปั๊มน้ำแล้วก็จะพยายามทำงานอะไรให้มันเป็นความรู้บ้างนะครับวันรักและช้ำรักมันทำลายตุ้มเฮ้ยตกใจเหมือนว่าสวิตช์จะไม่ค่อยดีละเฉียวทำอะไรดีวะ need to water นี่โดยปกติแล้วเวลามาปั๊มเนี่ยนะมันมักจะต้องตรวจดู I need to check whether there are some ants inside this or not. Sometimes ants get inside this. Do you hear me? If I don't operate this pump for a few days, then there can be some ants try to take over my water pump. So I need to come and turn it on frequently, every other day, something like that. ก็คือถ้าไม่มาเปิดมันหลายๆวันก็มดมันก็จะยึดครองเราก็จะต้องพยายามมาเปิดอยู่บ่อยๆนะครับวันนี้ใส่เสื้อ2 ตัวเพราะว่าหนาว It's cold today so I need to wear 2 t-shirtsเฮ้ยเราไปตังน้ำใกล้เต็มแล้วนี่หว่าเอา water plant over there for a little while finish there are 2 lumps of lemon orange yeah. Oh, here already you can see we need to turn it off really quick yeah ใช่ต้นที่ปลูกนั่นนี่มันเกิดเองนั่นนี่เก็บไว้ดีนั่นนี่แต่มันกินได้นะ this one is edible so just keep it for now you move the hole to United World Monument over there but it's difficult for me to carry this hole over there so I think I'd have better work turn the camera that way and then I can throw the hole across the ocean to the monument. At first let me unplug the power water pump first.เดี๋ยวเราจะโยนจอบไปทางนู้นดีกว่า โ see me now. เธอได้รู้ดีว่าวันนี้ต้องเจอเธอมีคนใหม่ไหนล่ะนี่เพิ่งสัญญาณมานะครับไลฟ์มา20นาทีแล้วยังไม่มีใครดูสักคนเลยเป็นที่น่าภาคภูมิใจอย่างยิ่งนัก I'm so proud that there are still nobody is watching okay let's go back see our pavilion and next I'm gonna take you to the monument to see whether there's anything we can do or not any work that maybe give you some knowledgeไปเรียนกันที่อนุสาวรีย์รวมโลกดีกว่าวันนี้แดดร่มลมตกครับ It's no strong sunlight today that's quite strange because in the morning it seems like it's gonna be dry and windy day but now the wind is not strong and sun does not shine there is cloud you can see the sky right you can see the sky right but you cannot see the sun I think the sun is over there it's blocked by the cloud ตอนนี้เมฆก็ถูกบดบังไปด้วยดวงอาทิตย์พูดผิดครับดวงอาทิตย์ถูกบดบังไปด้วยเมฆเรามากันที่อนุสาวรีย์รวมโลกแล้วนะครับ at Limited World Monument you can see the water level it's getting lower right yeah let's see what we can do with this wood on the boat a little bit sad that there's no water plant in this Limited World Ocean. Hey, let's see. This is mango leaves, young mango leaves that are edible. ใบอ่อนต้นมะม่วงที่กินได้ แต่ว่าขนาดเป็นมะม่วงธรรมชาตินะครับเนี่ยยังโดนแมลงกินแล้วมะม่วงพันธุ์แข็งแกร่งนะมะม่วงเขาเรียกว่ามะม่วงเบามะม่วงป่ามะม่วงกะล่อนอะไรเนี่ยไม่รู้จะเรียกชื่อไหนมะม่วงไข่ก็ใช่ดูที่อันนั้นเราเนาะขั้วโลกใต้ถ้าไม่ใช่เพราะต้นไอ้นี่ขั้วโลกใต้อาจจะพังไปแล้วต้นนั้นนี่มันช่างเก่งมากเลยเนี่ยเป็นต้นเดียวกับเนี่ยมันเกิดมาอย่างดูแล้วไม่น่าที่จะโตเลยอ่ะแต่พอมันโตขึ้นนะเนี่ยเป็นอย่างนี้มันเกิดเองเยอะมากเลย เป็นไม้ใช้สอยใช้ทำฟืนได้อย่างดีทีนี้เราจะทำงานอะไรดีล่ะงานในคอมมันก็ยังมีแยะแต่ว่าทำอย่างนี้ก่อนงาน GIS ส่งไปแล้วนะที่ทำเมื่ออาทิตย์ที่แล้วส่งไปเมื่อวันอาทิตย์นั่นตอนนี้เรามาดูทางนี้เป็นไงล่ะเวียนหัวไปเลยถ้าใครมาดูดูสิ6 นาทีแล้วระหว่างที่ดูผมทำงานเราก็แบ่งหน้าจอมาดู YouTube ด้วยดีไหมผมจะให้ดูวิธีการทำโต๊ะเก้าอี้เราก็จะจากนี้ย่อตัวเองนิดนึงย่อหน่อยสิเอาดันไปเป็นการปิดPowerPoint ซะเนี่ยเอาขาตั้งครับขาตั้งก็อะไรของเขาเนี่ยขาตั้งของเขาทีนี้เราก็มาดูที่หน้าจอนี้แล้วก็อาจจะดู YouTube ไหมหรือว่าจะดู YouTube ก็ได้นะแล้วก็เสิร์ชหาคำว่าวันนี้เราจะมาทำโต๊ะที่อนุสาวรีย์ล้อมโลกDIY แล้วกันนะ DIY ก็มาจากคำว่า do it yourself นะครับ do it yourself ทำมันด้วยตัวคนเอง DIY แล้วเราก็พิมพ์ว่า table นี่ table เราจะเอาโต๊ะแบบไหนมีหลายแบบครับเราอยากทำโต๊ะแบบไหนล่ะสมมติเอาโต๊ะอันแรกเนี่ย
Hey guys, welcome back to another Wood Brew video. This week we are finally building a dining table for Dylan's apartment. It has been on the to-do list for a very long time now, and I am so excited to finally be eating at a table. Big shout out to Night Eyes for sponsoring this week's episode. We have a ton of uses that we're going to show in this episode, but you can also check out our Instagram. There's a link in the description below where we show you a bunch of other uses for their cool, innovative products. We found them pretty interesting to use in and outside of the shop. I thought they would be pretty cool to show off here in video, so hope you guys enjoy. Big thanks to them for making this video possible. We do have plans available for this table as well. That link will be down below. With all that being said, let's get started. Starting off with materials for the top, we have these super nice pine boards. The legs? No. Do you want me to grab this? Those are the legs? Yes. This is the top. Right, so you don't want me to grab this? No, I don't want any legs in the top. You want your legs in the top? No, you want your legs where they belong, below your waist. Before we glue up our top, we need to make marks all the way down where we need to cut out for our biscuits. We are super excited to be breaking out the biscuit joiner, and to keep cords tidy in the cabinet, we use gear ties from Night Eyes. This helps our workflow so much when we aren't fiddling with cords for 5 minutes. We use the gear ties for so many other things around the shop. Let me just show you. Gear tie around the glue bottle to keep a glue brush attached. We are always looking for those things. Gear tie around all of the tapes to keep them together and to hang them on a hook. These come in all different sizes for so many different needs. Night-Eye sent over a few other things for us to check out that we absolutely needed. We have an attic above our shop with no light, so having the Innova rechargeable flashlight right there on the wall is huge. A few other things we love, like the Steely Dash kit and pedestal kit, and the large S spinner. Thank you, Night-Eye, for sponsoring this week's video, and if you want to check out any of these products, there will be a link down below. After all the biscuits were cut, it was time for the glue up. We always do a dry fit before we add glue to be on the safe side and make sure that everything fits. We have to do the top in 2 separate pieces, so we did the other half off camera, and then we will come back the next day and repeat the whole joinery process and stick them both together. When the top is dry, we could come back in and clean up each end with the track saw. Now for the legs, we are using the same material as the top, just a little bit smaller in width. The table is going to have 2 bases as the legs, and they will be in a trapezoid shape, so we decided on cutting all the pieces on a 10-degree angle. One thing that we really like to do when making repeating cuts is just trace out one cut piece over and over, then we'll be sure to have the same lengths throughout. Now just for a little bit of sanding on everything and time to assemble the base. To make sure we are centering the base to the table, we just need to mark the center of both and then line them up. We wanted these legs to be super strong and sturdy and also somewhat easily removable, so we are attaching them with the bolts and adding in these threaded inserts. For finish, we are using a triple thick polyurethane, and I ended up doing 2 coats on the top just for security. I absolutely love how this table turned out. It's exactly what I had in mind. Remember, we do have plans available down below so you can build it yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.
สูงเท่าไหร่งงอีกกลับไปวัดที่บ้านดีกว่านะเดี๋ยวไปเอามีดมาเนี่ยmaking a floating table. Maybe this one is interesting. Oh, SketchUp for wood. ลองใช้โปรแกรมบ้างไหมโปรแกรมนี้เขาเรียกว่า SketchUp นะครับใช้โปรแกรม SketchUp เพื่อออกแบบอะไรต่างๆนะ
This is part one of a two-part series with the goal of hopefully teaching you how to design and model furniture using SketchUp. To make a long story short, I'm a huge proponent of designing and modeling all of my projects, and I'm not saying that SketchUp's the only or best place to do that, but it's something that I use for every project, and I think that some of you might really benefit from it, so I just want to get you up to speed as fast as possible. So the way that we're going to do that is by modeling a project from start to finish over the course of these next two videos. And I don't know if that's the best way to learn, but that's just kind of the way that I learn. So that's how I'm going to teach. So real quick, before we dive in, just a couple things I want to get out of the way because they might save you some time. So who is this video for? And maybe more importantly, who isn't it for? So if you want to learn about every feature in SketchUp so that you can become an expert, these videos probably aren't for you. But if you're a woodworker who wants to learn the 10% of the functionality that's going to get you up to speed in designing within a day, then this video is for you. So I'm going to keep it all very basic and just try to show you the things that I think are the most important. And then from there, if you want to dive deeper or you're looking for information about specific things, honestly, just Google it because there's already a ton of information out there and courses being taught by people that are a lot better than me from a technical perspective. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so in this first part, we're not going to be concerned about planning out actually building the project, and instead we're really just going to cover the beginning stages of modeling and kind of coming up with the aesthetic look of a piece, and then playing around with a few iterations of the design. Then in part two, we're going to start getting a little bit more granular with all of the components of the pieces and just troubleshooting problems and basically generating a finished project that we can follow for building the piece in real life. And to model everything, we're going to be using SketchUp Make 2017, which is a free version. That said, any version that you have is going to be fine and probably have all the functionality because we're keeping it very basic. So I'm going to recommend watching this video through once and then watching it again and modeling along. And to find the software, just Google something like SketchUp Make 2017 download, and I'm sure you'll find it. Okay, so here we're in SketchUp, and I'm using a Mac, so just keep that in mind that for Windows, things might be a little bit different. Again, just Google it if your intuition doesn't work out. But anyway, it doesn't really matter what your screen looks like, but if you want yours to look just like mine, go to Preferences, Templates, and then choose Woodworking Inches. After you've done that, then go into View, Tool Palettes, and make sure that you have the large tool set selected so that all of these options appear. So at this point, you're good to go, but your screen might look like this or like this. And basically, SketchUp has a lot of different styles built in, and I really prefer to model in a style that I like the looks of and it's simple to digest. Just makes me the happiest. So again, if you want yours to look exactly like mine, go to Windows and Styles to bring up this window. Then I'll go into default styles and choose something like this, and then click edit. And under the edge settings, copy these options. Then under the faces, copy these options. And finally, under background, turn ground and sky off. And for the background color, choose white. Then so that all of that work is saved, in this pull down menu, select in model, and then click this button to create a style with all of your options. Now, in case you changed anything, you can just click on this and all the options will reset. Again, you don't need to do any of this, but that's what I like. Okay, so before we do anything, you need to learn the absolute most basic functions. So hold Command and type 1 to put yourself into a top view. or go to camera, standard views, and select top. Okay, so by far the most common tools that you're going to use to draw are these three tools. The line tool, the rectangle tool, and the push-pull tool. And you can select them by clicking them or by typing L, R, and P respectively. And to draw, for example, with a line, but this works for any tool, there are two ways to do it. You can click, hold, and drag, or you can click, drag, and click. And I highly recommend the click, drag, click method because as we start to build models and you're trying to draw a line from a really specific point to another, it's just a lot easier to click once and then navigate through your model and click again to create the line as opposed to having to hold the left mouse button the entire time. So just get in the habit early, I guess. Also, anytime you start drawing a line by accident and you want to get rid of it before you've committed to it, you can just hit the escape key to get rid of it. Okay, so we're in top view, and now I want you to click this button right here, which is called Zoom Extents, which will kind of center our axis, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But anyway, now select the line tool by either clicking this icon or by typing L. Then click once at the origin, and then start dragging to create a line. Now, let's say that we want to create a line along the red axis that's 10 inches long. Well, when you get close to the axis, it should snap to it. So drag the line to the right, and once you see that it's snapping, take your hand off of the mouse and type in 10 and enter or return. And since the default units are inches right now, that's going to make a line that's 10 inches. Then, without clicking the mouse, start dragging down, which should drag the line on the green axis. Now type 10 and enter again, and there's another 10-inch line. Then again, without clicking, drag to the left and type 10, enter. And then finally drag back to your starting point and click the mouse once, and you've completed a box. So you should see something like this. But real quick, if you don't, if you drew the first line and maybe you didn't see anything, you're probably just zoomed in too far to see it. So don't worry about that just yet. Just keep following along and we're going to fix it in a second. Okay, back in our model, regardless of if you can see anything or not, I want you to go ahead and hit Command A to select everything and then hit delete. Because the faster way to build a box is with the rectangle tool, which you can click to select or just type R. And then with it selected, click once at the origin and drag down and to the right. Take your hand off of your mouse and now type 10, 10 without any spaces. Then hit enter and it'll make a 10-inch by 10-inch square. And I know you probably are thinking it should be 10 space X space 10, 10 by 10, but it's 10, 10 for whatever reason. I still do that from time to time. Don't worry about it, you'll get used to it. Okay, now so that we can all get to the exact same place, because our views might be different at the moment, click the Zoom Extents button. The shortcut is Shift-Z, by the way. And what that's gonna do is make your model fill the screen. So basically your square should become really big when you click it. Okay, now let's talk about navigating the workspace. So there are three main functions: zoom, orbit, and pan, which can be controlled by these three buttons here. But if you only learn or use one shortcut, or well, I guess it'd be three shortcuts, it's these three. So if you're using a 3-button mouse, you'll zoom by scrolling the center wheel in and out. Then to orbit, you'll click on the center wheel and move your mouse around. And to pan, you'll hold shift while clicking the center wheel and moving your mouse. And by the way, if you want to use the exact mouse that I'm using, I'll throw a link in the description. I've had this one for a few years now. It's not too expensive and it works perfect for this kind of stuff. Anyway, if you have a 2-button mouse, to zoom, you'll need to either click on the magnifying glass button or click Z on your keyboard, and then drag in and out while holding the left mouse button. Then to orbit, you'll hold Control plus Command on your keyboard while holding the left mouse button. And to pan, you'll hold Control plus Command plus Shift on your keyboard while holding the left mouse button. And I know that kind of sounds convoluted at first, but just watch me. Here's the workflow. You're basically just resting your pointer and ring fingers on Command and Control, and then using your middle finger to add in Shift when you need to pan, and release it when you don't. Okay, there's a good chance that you're messing around and kind of got lost in space at this point. So let's all get back to the same place by typing Command +1. That way we're looking from the top down at our model. And then click Command 7, which will give you an isometric view. Then click Zoom Extents or Shift X. That way we should all have the same view now. Okay, so you know how to draw a line, you know how to draw a rectangle. Now let's make a cube, since after all, it's supposed to be 3D modeling. So to do that, we're gonna select the push-pull tool, or just type P on your keyboard. Now you should notice with the tool selected, as you hover over your square, the face gets these dots on it. That means if you click, you'll select that face. So let's click once, then start moving our mouse up, take your hand off the mouse, and then type 10 and enter. Now hit the Zoom Extents button once more, and you should see your cube. Okay, from here, I would say get comfortable playing around with what we just learned. And you can try drawing the cube again, practice zooming in and out on it, try orbiting around it, panning around. Just kind of get comfortable navigating the environment. And it might feel a little bit weird at first, but it's like learning to walk. Once you get used to it, it's just second nature, and you can quickly zoom around your objects. So go ahead and hit pause, do that, and then when you're ready to move on, unpause the video.
Pause. Oh, I pause.
Okay, we're ready to start modeling. So
เอา pause โอเค ผมจะจบการไลฟ์เพียงเท่านี้ก่อน ขอได้รับความขอบคุณจากคู่โกรวมโลก เดี๋ยวเราจะไปทำอะไรต่างๆของเราต่ออีกหลายอย่างนะครับ สรุปว่าวันนี้ไม่มีใครมาเรียนที่ศาลารวมโลกนะครับ so today nobody's come to learn at United World นุ่มแม่ โอ้ย should I teach you how we can carry and bring the boat, this boat to เดี๋ยวสาธิตให้ดูหน่อยดีกว่าเนาะว่าเราจะเอาเรือลำนี้ไปที่สระแล้วก็ไปเก็บผักบุ้งยังไงนะ sorry for keeping you waiting without playing video for you เดี๋ยวไปดูว่าเราล่างเรือไปแล้วก็เรือเราอยู่นี่แล้วผมก็ไปออกถุงดูทุ่งนาครับ see the rice field it's almost harvest time ตั้งกล้องสักประมาณนี้เนาะดูว่าผมจะไปเก็บผักบุ้งและดอกขี้เหล็กได้สักแค่ไหนนะครับ Let's see how much morning glory and ขี้เหล็ก flower we can get in this bag ถุงบอกว่าใช้แล้วใช้ซ้ำทำเพื่อโลกจาก7-Eleven นะครับไม่มีตรา7แต่ว่าเป็นถุงที่ดีมากนะเนี่ยไม่น่าล่ะ7ถึงเลิกเอามาขายเพราะว่ามันไม่มีตรา7นี่เอง54ท่อนว่าอุตส่าห์เขียนซะอย่างดีราคาซ้ำทำไปพอผมทำตามใช้นานนับปีโอ้โหนับปีทีเดียวแต่ว่าหอยมันเริ่มขาดแล้วเพราะว่าผมนั่นไปใส่ของเสื้อผ้าหนักนะเนี่ยจะลงไปแล้วนะดูว่าเราจะไปถึงและเราควรจะมีอะไรตัวช่วยคิดว่าจะต้องอาศัยตัวช่วยนิดหนึ่งนะลงไปในน้ำเนี่ยไม่ค่อยจะได้ไม้กันแค่นี้ปลอดภัยละเดี๋ยวไปนี่ไม่เห็นเลย เดี๋ยวดูกันนะครับว่าเราจะได้อะไรเยอะแยะแค่ไหนอันนี้จะเป็นไม้พายด้วยได้ไหมเนี่ยคิดว่าเฮ้ยได้ด้วยเว้ยนี้ก็พายได้แล้วนะยอดไม่ตูไม่รู้เนี่ยแค่นี้ ดูทั้งถุงดีกว่านะซีเดสใครอยากกินมาเด้อผู้ใดอยากกินดอกกิเล็กแกงดอกกิเล็กได้ผักบุ้งหน่อยนึงผักบุ้งเหรอผักบุ้งมันไม่ค่อยสวยนะให้ดูยอดผักบุ้งmorning glory is here and but what I got more is of course the kilek flower. This is edible and is very nutritional, very good for your health. It's full of nutrients เต็มไปด้วยธาตุอาหารมากมายอร่อยมากต้องไปต้มกันนะครับ but you need to boil it and just pour rinse the hot water for about 2 or 3 times กินแหละดีใจโอเคครับก็ถือว่าสำเร็จไปเนาะสำหรับการไลฟ์คราวนี้โอเค I think that should be it for this live. Hope you learn something. Okay, and yeah, so see you again tomorrow. แล้วเจอกันใหม่พรุ่งนี้ครับ Thanks for watching. Bye bye.